Good evening, Free Enterprise fans, and welcome to this final match of Week 4 in the Swiss portion of the Fabul Gauntlet tournament. We have a couple of 3-0 racers here, both trying to get that fourth win and guarantee a spot in brackets. Poidrac and Paranoia. Up here in the booth, I'm Invenerable. With me making a return to commentary is Vitasia. Vitasia, how are you doing today?
Oh, I am so happy to be back. Blast from the past, getting some old school going thing here. Really excited for this matchup, a 3-0 matchup between Poidrac, one of the old schools, and then Much Paranoia. I don't know a lot about them, so excited to see some new blood that I have no idea how they're going to go.
Yeah, Paranoia stormed on the scene this past fall, winning our, it was kind of a backup, it wasn't a backup tournament, it was a full open tournament for people who came in a little too late to get involved in the Zenith Zone tournament, and it was one that anyone who wanted to could enter. There were no qualifiers, and Paranoia won that entire shebang and has been cleaning up here in the Fabul Gauntlet as well. Poidrac, old hand at the game, of course. Both these racers already having 3 wins have at minimum, a play-in to make it brackets, but each one would love to get that 4th win today and just go ahead and know they have a spot there in the weeks to come. We are looking at a Sid start today, got that Vaporwave palette going on. What do you think about a Sid start, Vitasia?
You know, I enjoy Mia's head start. It's not quite as overpowered as say, an edge start, which is so rare. It almost never happens. But, he's got some decent HP. He doesn't have much equipment, but he can still swing a little bit. So he's enough to get you off the ground. It's so much better than, say, your favorite bard or anything else. he's serviceable. Like he is a serviceable endgame guy, and I like starting with him.
Yeah, and we do have a telepartner to start, a Baron Key, and we see a free boss at the Beigen spot. That's King and Queen Edlin, which won't be a problem. Probably still won't see either racer charge that, just because we are probably not ready for the throne. But let's launch this airship and figure out what our 5 objectives are going to be this seed. And of course, our restreamer today is Simbu. Our tracker is Akir. And Simbu rolled this seed, I believe. So let's see what nastiness he has generated today.
Looking forward to it. We have
Rydia, Hobbs, Mist, Rosa, Troya Treasury.
What?
So no boss hunts. We do need to find 2 characters and do 1 location and get 2 key items. But pretty generous here. No boss hunts, nothing on the moon, and any seed where I have to get Rosa is usually a pretty good seed.
I mean, you're guaranteed your white mage at that point in time. Going right away and opening up some treasures here for some folks. Now, one of the things that's interesting with opening up the Troya treasury at that number 5 spot, I mean, if you can swing it to where that's your last one you have to do and you already have the pass, that just kind of routes in real nicely there.
Oh yeah, you'll already be at Troya pretty much and are ready to head on up and fight Zeromus with that pass door. Which, if it plays out that way, fantastic. I would be fascinated to see if we ended up with a seed where we don't even have to go moon, and just to force our racers into having to come up with some kind of lower level strat or grind option. Like, I would love to see Sirens gated by Hook or Darkness Crystal, early pass, all objectives done on Earth, make these racers sweat with a super jetty seed.
I mean, the possibility is absolutely there with this particular objective loadout. And we do see Paranoia already going in for 1 key item, diving into the Antlion Cave. He's going right at it. Meanwhile, Poidrac's doing some shopping. He's buying some cabins and some Tier 2s, getting ready for kind of a longer game at this point. Paranoia, though, diving right into it.
Yeah, it's interesting to see this much shopping with a Sid start. He is considered to be one of the best starting characters on this flag set, because like you mentioned, you're not going to get Edge, you're not going to get Fu, and he can pretty much solo the first few boss spots in the Overworld. So the patience here is I'm interested to see what Poidrac's planning with the long game here versus versus Paranoia's head first approach.
Now, I know that Poidrac ended up checking out Baron and clearing that out before he ended up skipping town. I did not check to see who the character was sitting there under mind control in the cafe. Did you happen to see that?
Yeah, that was Palom, and he is currently being guarded by, well, the enemy version of Yang, the karate fighter. No idea who the second fight there is, of course, but always nice to see Palom there just to have access to a really strong black mage in your overworld, not having to rely purely on physical damage or anything.
Oh, and this is a Leviathan early. That's not bad. Again, for something that's this early, it does percentage-based damage for the most part. This is going to be kind of a one hit and done, maybe two hit.
Yeah, it'll take a little bit to chew through the 1000 HP here. It's kind of funny that Leviathan's one of the few bosses here that can actually do some damage. It'll be hard for Leviathan to wipe a team, just because, again, the percentage damage, but these Ice 2s will actually hurt a little bit. Not a lot, just a little. But more than like punches would do here for 1 damage or so.
Yeah, not bad at all. And we see Poidrac is actually joining him now. Yeah, nice and easy fight to get going. Of course, no levels, but we get Spoon.
Yeah, Spoon on this flag set. Well, we're not going to get to equip Edward with it. You're not going to be swinging around a 255 damage piece of cutlery. You are going to only get use out of that by throwing it with Edge or selling it for the cash. But it counts towards your 10, and if you hit 10 key items, you love to see the double XP. So, take it, don't leave it.
Yeah, this is one of those seeds, though, that you're hoping you don't have to get to that 10 seed mark. I mean, these are a very friendly set of 5. At least we're hoping for it. So if you get to the point where you have need of those 10 and you're still looking, that may not bode well. So we'll see.
It is kind of also noteworthy that Paranoia didn't really find any upgraded weapons for Sid. Usually, you're very excited to run across any kind of axe or upgraded hammer. Bow and arrows can be nice if you find really strong ones, and they're really great for back row glitching Sid. He can actually use bows and arrows, unlike Kain, for instance, but no hammer or axe upgrades. Ooh.
Yeah, this will be an interesting fight. Now, he did get a samurai bow, so that's something. It's not great, not preferred, but it's something.
Yeah, we did find that Gungnir spear. That is the best item you can find and the best spear you can find on T standard in a random chest. Very fantastic weapon for Kain. Great damage, great accuracy, gives a big old vitality bonus as well. So Kain's pretty much online here. One thing about this team, though, it looks like we're going to be craving heavy armor for all these bruisers to wear, and we've not seen a whole lot of that so far.
No, not at all. I mean, it's still early. We haven't opened a ton of chests so far in various areas, and I mean, let's not forget we are required to open the Troya treasury at some point. So, depending on where that falls in line, it may be a nice open spot for some good equipment.
Oh, it would be pretty great if that race ended up being. I would love to see a neck-and-neck race at the end that is won or lost based on opening the treasury, but not taking the time to loot it. Like, no, you got to get to Zeromus. No time for treasure.
No time for treasure. Oh, but here's an Avenger for Kain. That Kain you picked up. That would just, speed things along so nicely for Zeromus.
Well, that does complete the first objective for Paranoia. Well, the second one, I should say. First one to be completed, number 2 on the list. Poidrac right behind them. Little difference in their loots so far, but both in great shape, chugging on through this early game without much issue. Do love to see the West Hobbs check whenever you have a Tella in the party.
I was going to say, yeah, that West Hobbs check is so risky unless you have a Tella or someone else who can get exit.
Paranoia coming back to Baron now, apparently thinking that between the health pool on Sid, the really good spear on Kane, maybe thinking it's time to take a swing at Baron N. Tella also not shabby in these fights, having access to the Blink spell even before he learns his full suite.
Meanwhile, Poidrac's going to go over here. He's at least going to dip his toe in. No, he's going full into the Fabul Gauntlet.
Yeah, this does run the risk of ending up having to make a whole bunch of multiple dips here. If you have to come back a separate time for Sheila 1, you have to come back yet another time for Sheila 2, just depending on how key items play out. But it's pretty nice. Gonna get some decent XP here, gonna get full heals both before and after the fight. Nice little waypoint before you head on to where you want to go next.
Meanwhile, we have kind of a French vanilla fight over here with Yang. The first half of the fight in the Baron Inn.
Wait a minute. Okay. It was not the Baron guards. It's the Kaipo guards, at least. I was going to be like, they just traded seats. This is actually a fantastic fight to see here. It will hit a little hard, but you only have to take down the 3 soldiers here, and the officer will run away. Don't have to get through the roughly 4,000 HP that would be at the spot with other fights.
And help me out here, if we happen to have any hourglasses, that works on these soldiers, don't they? So if you were worried about the damage, you can just stop them.
That's true, but here's something to keep in mind now that you're getting back into the game a little bit. 4.0 redid a little bit of the item tiers and the shop tiers, and hourglasses can be a bit of a precious commodity. They have so much value that you kind of fall into classic Final Fantasy Elixir syndrome. Well, I have it. Should I use it or wait for the next fight? Use it, wait for the next fight. And I think this fight, yeah, Paranoia just knocks those 3 down and is going to get that Palom very quickly here.
Very nice. That is wonderful information to have. I did not know. Thank you. And thank you, Big Dunka, for that raid. Appreciate you, man.
We do get the hook. So for those of you who are unfamiliar with Free Enterprise, there are 2 ways to access the Underworld. You either have to have the magma key, and you just throw it down the well and you go, or you have to take the hook and the hovercraft and go through Eblin Cave. Much higher difficulty bosses there versus no bosses at all. So we love to see a Rude Hook Seed. It really brings out some of, the higher skills in runners when they have to cleverly get past it. I'm hoping we don't see a magma key. I want something rude up here for these racers to deal with.
You might get rude. It looks like he's trying to clear out. There is a rune axe available for sale in the Baron Inn, and all of Cecil's armor. My goodness, all the crystal armor is available in the armor.
And Paranoia going ahead and making the run here. Again, we did see King Queen Eblin for our first fight. That's a very good one to see at Vigan. Question is, will the second fight at the King spot, well, where you would fight Kanatsu and Vanilla, will it be kind, or will we see something that may be a little tricky for this team to handle?
If you were a gambling man, Inven, I'm not saying you are. I would never insult your character that way, but if you were a gambling man, what would you want to gamble on? Horrible troll or fun, easy?
I mean, it's really more of an issue of our restreamers' pride tonight. I think the wanting to roll nasty seeds is just it's a big point of pride for everyone in the community. Anyone who does roll the seed, handles restreaming, loves to have that kind of notoriety. So I'm just I'm rooting for something ultimately to be rude here, just for Simbu's sake.
See, and I'm rooting for something to be rude because in the grand scheme of randomizers, every rude seed that is broadcast is just that infinitesimal likelihood more that I will not see something rude when I play.
Now, I am a little I'm a little torn on with Paranoia here. Rushing headlong into Baron Castle is awesome, but I have had such bad experience with the leaving a hook hanging. Like, I swear, if your opponent checks the hook before you do, it's gonna be a Fusoya every time. And if you leave it, you'll get there and you'll find that Edward you mentioned.
Yeah. Well, we did just see a sleeping Fu in the Kaipo spot. So doubt we're going to turn in we may turn in a Sand Ruby if we still need it, but no, we would absolutely. What am I thinking? Yes, we would.
Yeah, Fu is good.
I'm like, wait a second.
And the good news for Paranoia is that highly reduces the chance of there being another one over in Eblin Cave, so not going to be punished for delaying the hook peak this time. With this flag set, there are a total of 13 character spots. There are 12 characters in the game, so there will be one duplicate, and that 1 in 12 shot probably not going to land on Fu. But you never know. River's pointing out in chat that Poidrac did pick up a cursed ring in the Village Mist. Very handy item for allowing you to get away with ATB manipulation in the game. And get your lolbezes out in chat. We've got a hot one on the Baron Throne.
I feel this, and all of his characters' names are Salt. Yes.
So, the minor question here that I'm going to pull up while Golbez is going through his script is how high is the spell power at this spot? Because if it's a little, I've had a really bad run of luck with Golbez where, he leaves me with two characters. I try to get a Starvel up. He hits the one who has the Starvel queued, and then he hits the other one before I can get that one going on. It would not surprise me. Yeah, that virus came out super fast. The kid is down. But Kane got his turn first, got the Starvel up. No problems here. Paranoia, definitely not punished this fight.
It was close, though. That was very, very tight. Yeah, and he's just going to sit there and let Golbez take care of himself.
Yeah, you will need to take one swing after you've passed a certain HP threshold. Otherwise, you have to sit there until Golbez basically does... I'm guessing board just listed at 65,000 at most Golbez spots, but gets past the initial threshold, the one bop, and then there he crumbles. Imagine not landing that coin flip. Vitasia, did you see if Paranoia saved in the waterway? Or if he bothered going outside and saving after dealing with the inn?
I don't believe he did. He's been kind of full tilt, and he does complete an objective by finding ourselves Iridia.
Hey, there we go. 2 of 5 complete now. And we're also, after a little cutscene, going to get a potential key item here. Double required Baron with the starting Baron key. Very direct seed, potentially.
Yeah, Paranoia's got to be at least happy about his decision at this point in time. We'll see. I mean, he has avoided that hook up to this point in time, does have it. We'll see where he ends up going after here. Gotta imagine he's thinking hook right now. Although with a level 1 Rydia,
Well, the rest of the team's probably good enough to make up for it. We do get a key item, not a gating one, but a key item nonetheless. We do still have Ordeals hanging at this point. Tella could have a full spell suite if we decide to go up there. Well, except for those few really good ones that they decided not to give him. And, of course, Hook is still hanging as well. Only 2 options left for Paranoia after, well, there's a small chance that this is a doable fight down here, but not a great one. Lower Baron Throne, being the vanilla Odin spot, is a place that you, in the vanilla game, fight quite a bit later than when you first deal with the castle. And is that a water hag or a gauntlet?
Oh, this. Yeah.
Yeah. One of the other things, in case you've missed it since coming back, Vatasia, is the alt Gauntlet flag, which instead of being, your ordinary Fab 6 fights from Fabul, you have bosses or enemies drawn from the surrounding area. But we don't count Odin as Baron. He's a summon monster.
What?
He counts as Feymarch.
What? Are you telling me you're not just going to pull out 5 imps from the surrounding area?
Nope.
Hashtag cheater.
So that fight, well, the Conjurers will not, that's not going to be a bad fight for the Odin spot by any means, and it's going to have a lot of really great XP value. It's just probably not something you can do quite yet. There will be those Conjurers will summon Clappers, they'll summon Arachnes who just roll out with Quake. Don't quite have the levels to probably take that on yet. If we find, say, Coffins and Hourglasses, either or in the Evelyn shop, then it might be doable. We'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, so now we're seeing Paranoia do kind of the shop and early item grind that we saw Poidrac do a little bit earlier. So while absolutely Paranoia had completed his Baron run already, keep in mind Poidrac has already done a lot of this overworld clearing that Paranoia is now doing. So it's still a pretty close race, all things.
Oh yeah, it's very close, very close. And yeah, they're both going, well, right now I'm a little scared for Poidrac. River's pointing out in chat that there is a crystal ring in play here. One of its status protections is, does resist paralysis. So Poidrac doesn't have to worry about at least one character getting paralyzed. And Cursed Ring in play, well, it helps with the agility anchoring, but also, if you put a Cursed Ring with an elemental resistance, it becomes elemental absorption. So the lightning and fire spells, at least, may be absorbed if that character is properly outfitted.
All right, Paranoia finishing up some of the local boss checks. Poidrac, we'll see how well he can handle this particular. Now, I think Kane, this must mean Kane has his crystal ring equipped.
Yeah, makes a lot of sense. Kane is kind of the heavy hitter on the team right now with that Gungnir spear and getting the extra speed, the extra magic defense, all good things. And has a pretty good chance to avoid this next demolish. Oh, rude Shadow Dragon.
I mean, yeah. I didn't. It was a coin flip, and this one was lost. In the meantime, big shout out Moonblaze Wolf, also with the raiding party. Cheers.
But Poidrac also wins the coin flip. Whew, you know he's sweating right there. Starvel up, Palom will be safe here, and Golbez will do pretty much all the necessary damage on his own before that Starvel wears off.
Looks like Paranoia is actually going up Mount Ordeals and decided, hey, this is going to be the better play. 3 bosses up here. Not really looking for much of a boss grind, but maybe hoping beyond hope that there's a Magma Key up here?
Yeah, could be hoping for a Magma Key. The Mist Dragon is still out there somewhere getting a key item. We may not have to hunt other bosses, but D-Mist would not be a bad find up here.
And that is a required... Well, no, the bomb ring's a requirement, yeah.
Yeah. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but has Paranoia not done Fabul yet, but Poidrac has?
Correct.
Gotcha. So, fading Fabul, again, that mentioned when Poidrac was doing it, that if you do go there early, you are setting yourself up for a risk of having to triple dip the location. But depending on Hook Seeds, you kind of want to go there anyway sometimes, just in the event of Magma Key. Of course, if Paranoia finds a Magma Key up here, all of a sudden, guaranteed to have only have to make 2 Fabul trips max this seed.
Safety save here by Paranoia. I like it. I like it because you never know. There's some nasty bosses that are still out there, right?
Oh yeah, and the back attack spot is especially rude just because you all start way behind the enemies in terms of getting your first turns, and if there's an Ogopogo here, if there's a Plague here, lots of nasties that you want to be prepared to have to take a swing, more than one swing at.
Looks like Poidrac is going to be joining him, and it's Water Hag.
Yeah, all those hard bosses, that could be, this ain't one. I mean, Riddy is still having a little difficulty staying up. It hits decently hard, but 3 hits, Water Hag's out of here.
I am such disappoint.
The good news, though, as Samu's pointing out, is that we are running out of free bosses. We've seen King Queen Evelyn, we've seen the Kaipo guards, we've seen Water Hag now. If we find a few more of these, that means the moon is going to be a very terrifying place.
I mean, already with this objective set, going to the moon almost seems terrifying in and of itself, because you've likely wasted quite a bit of time checking everything else before going up to the moon with this set. But we'll see. And the Water Hag dies.
So doing a minor bit of rearranging here. I doubt we'll see a safety save. There are very few things that can cause you trouble in the actual crystal chamber. But both racers very neck and neck. You can. I knew this was going to be a great matchup. I'm glad we were able to get the restream together today. If you've not followed Poidrac and Paranoia, you really should. Both fantastic racers of this game, and now Paranoia definitely gets to make a fun decision. With that pan, do you fade Fabul completely and risk it having a magma key for the possibility of only having to go there once the entire game?
I think I'd do that. I mean, above the metagaming that we know, if you haven't already been there, if you're already putting it off, this is giving you that much more of a reason. Avoid it. Just avoid it.
I'm trying to think if there are any extra nasty bosses we could see at the Ruby spot that would make Paranoia change his mind if he's already down there.
For this setup that he's got, you know what? I might be inclined, like, Asura might be a little bit difficult for this spot, maybe?
Yeah, we'll just have to see who is waiting on the path below. Pepita joining up, wanting to get a quick summary of the first 26 minutes or so here. Well, we started with Sid and Tella, a Baron key, and we spied King and Queen Evelyn at the Bygone spot. With that Sid and Tella start, as well as a Gungnir Spear in Antlion Cave and a Cane on Hubs, both these racers have cleaned up the overworld. The hairiest part was probably each one needing to land a coin flip to survive Golbez on the Baron throne. And the only thing that we have not seen, the only check we've not seen completed is the Odin spot with the alt gauntlet there, consisting of Feymarch foes, and neither racer has taken that hook to peek what lies in Evelyn Cave yet, but that should be on the agenda very soon. Did I miss anything?
Nope, pretty much it. Right now, the only difference in the overworld between Paranoia and Poidrac is that Poidrac has dipped his pinky toe into Fabul and completed the Fabul gauntlet. Meanwhile, Paranoia has not gone to Fabul at all. Now, nothing necessarily was there, but that might be gnawing at the back of Paranoia's mind. We'll see if he ends up deciding to do that prior to going to the hook, or if he just dives right into the hook spot.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong as well on this, but we've seen Paranoia putting that self-summon to good use. I'm guessing he either purchased one or found one that I don't think Poidrac has. Looks like Paranoia is leaning a little more heavily into that Iridia, even putting the Charm Rod on her.
Yeah, so I think there was a Sylph Summon available. I think it was at Silvera, and he picked one up there, and which is smart. I mean, if you don't have anything else for Rydia, you know you're going to need a Rydia or get a Rydia at some point in time because of your objective number one. Might as well check it out and grab one for there. And it does seem as though Paranoia is going to go, but he's going to make a pit stop over here, check, I think, some last few shops that he hasn't done yet.
Yeah, just cleaning up the overworld, making sure no item shop is left unchecked, just in case there's something important in them. And yeah, chat's right, I do remember Poidrac peeking that earlier in the Silvera shop, and I noticed that Poidrac didn't buy it, hadn't seen Rydia yet, makes a lot of sense, and just didn't know if Paranoia found one elsewhere or actually knew to purchase one because of going to Silvera at a more opportune moment. I see you in the chat, Vatasia. Yeah, avoiding both Fabul Castle and not fighting the Fabul Gauntlet, leaving those two things off the table for now.
I mean, just call me the sippin' tea Kermit meme. I mean, it's none of my business, but it does look like Paranoia is going to give us our first look at the Eblin Cave. I'm a little bit excited to see what's going to happen here because this could be a pretty big momentum swing.
Ooh, and an Asura summon right out the gate in the Eblin Cave. Very nice find. This will make Rydia an exceptional healer 2/3 of the time.
Just not even a coin flip, like roll a d6. Don't get a 1 or 2.
Ooh, and wine in the shop, but Paranoia's a little broke right now, not choosing to purchase any right now at least.
Poidrac right on his tail. Got some interesting items in the armor shop. Dragon whips and ninja helms for your physical fighters. Not that we have a ton of them.
Yeah, and I really like how close Poidrac's keeping up here. I don't think Poidrac peaked the Baron Basement Throne, but Poidrac did clear the first Fabul check. Paranoia, of course, does have that Sylph summon rocking on his Rydia, so Poidrac may have like the slight edge on checks, but where we found that pan means Paranoia is going to catch right up. Only having to do Fabul one time this seed.
And we have a baby white mage along with a flammable octopus.
Yeah, that's Octomammoth. Simbu's shaking his head at himself for rolling. It will be very fast and hit pretty hard at the start, but Octomammoth's not as threatening as a lot of physical bosses, just because after 3 hits, loses a tentacle and slows down. 2 more hits, loses a tentacle, slows down. And as long as you can endure that first little volley of tentacle hits, you're going to make it so slow that your team just completely overwhelms the squid. So, at this point, what are we hoping for? Dark Knight Cecil at King Queen Eblin?
I mean, I'm struggling to think of anything that could possibly give the challenge right now. I mean, we're at decent enough levels at this point. We've cleared out all the overworld. We're not really. I mean, and that's not necessarily a difficult spot to begin with. So, yeah. I mean, maybe floating eye or something like that. From the moon, one of the moon bosses where it counts down, just to put a little bit of pressure on you. But other than that, I can't really think of anything that would challenge these folks.
Yeah, it's a very good team setup. In spite of not having an actual white mage, I believe both of these racers chose not to take Porum. I may be incorrect on that front, though. I saw chat discussing it. I was more excited about the boss situation. I mean, I'm a Tele fan, but you know. I let my white mages end up being able to cast Holy.
I mean, anything more than Cure 2 would be nice on a regular basis. And I guess they both went up Ordeals, so they both have Della capable of casting Cure 3 like twice.
And Paranoia has opted to hunt down the Mad Ogre's chest here, seeking to get a little bonus XP, while Poidrac, long hair, doesn't care, charging into the fight, and we find a Dark Elf here. Not that scary. The first phase will stick to magical attacks instead of physicals, which are the real nasty thing here. And the second phase can be weaked, it can be stopped, it can be... They forgot to include the boss bit, so you can pretty much do whatever you need to take care of the dragon form. And chat, if we did see Valvalis down here, it would mean that there is a demist Zot gating the path to the Magma Key.
Okay, so that hasn't changed. If there's a Valvalis blocking your way at some point, okay.
Yeah, you can't. Your underground cannot be gated by Valvalis, by Golbez, by Wyvern, or by the boss in the Odin spot. However, if you do find one of those blocking your way underground on your hook path, you know you missed a Magma Key.
And I can't help but think that Paranoia might be regretting his life choices right now.
Yeah, these ogres, it's ogre for you, Paranoia. Finally lands the size spell with Tella, living that Tella life, finally lands it. The ogres won't be punching for pretty much any damage at this point, has time to recover. And yeah, if that had not landed, would have been a little scary, but not going to have any difficulty getting about 16,000 XP out of this fight with life glitches.
Yeah, it's absolutely worth it. So he'll have a bit of an XP boost over on Poidrac. Poidrac going back for the safety save before taking on the Octo Mammoth.
Yeah, after... I can't fault Poidrac for this. After how scary that Dark Elf fight got for a minute, I can understand not wanting to risk repeating it. But we're looking like we're going to have a pretty fast path underground on a hook seed. On hook seeds, you know, if you're underground in less than 40 minutes, it usually feels pretty good. And to have also done Baron Castle already, these teams are letting our racers make fantastic time.
Yep, that Sid is hitting like a truck, and then Kane is doing quite a bit. Rydia will come along, Hallam will come along once we get to the underground and we have some easier leveling options.
And this is pretty clever on Poidrac's part. I'm not positive whether or not he found a Dwarf Axe that would actually let his Kane be back row glitched or not. But keeping Kane in the back row for now and Sid in the back row for now, like putting the squishies up front to make sure all your heavy armor wearers are alive until Octomammoth gets slowed down, even if you sacrifice a little bit of damage in the meantime. Very safe strat, and pretty soon the Octomammoth will only be getting one attack for every dozen or so Poidracs.
And Simbu pointing out in chat, Dwarf Axe was for sale at some point, and I do believe I saw him back row glitching some folks pretty early on. So hey, that's the nice thing about the back row glitch. Once it's set for the rest of the game.
Yeah, so no problems here then. Makes a lot of sense to keep them in the back row. And with Blink, even your squishies don't really mind being up front.
Paranoia even doing a save, a rest and save even, for diving a little bit further. But I do believe, unless he just makes one heck of a smash at it, that Poidrac will be the first one into the underground.
Absolutely. And I do apologize, I missed it. What did Paranoia get from that ogre chest? Did anyone catch that? I was looking at a squid.
I mean, I also frequently find myself looking at squid instead of doing my job. But, you know. No, I have no idea because I also was not doing my job. So
Yeah,
oh,
so it was a gold apple, a plus 100 max HP item. Not the hottest thing to get from a trap chest. The real value, of course, was the huge XP infusion. But it gave Poidrac the chance to pull ahead a little bit here and should be done with this Octomammoth pretty soon and be the first racer to make it underground. Just by a slim margin, though. Very close race thus far.
now what will be interesting as we continue a little bit further on is, again, not to reiterate, Paranoia has not done Fabul at all. Poidrac has at least done the Fabul Gauntlet. It's entirely possible that Paranoia will be further incentivized because they both have the pan to go down, smack Young in the face, and then go back up there. Poidrac doesn't have as strong of an incentive because he's already got one of the items from that particular location. Could he still do it? Absolutely, with that pan, and it would still make sense. But if Poidrac ends up going other directions, and it leads Paranoia on a chase, I mean, just trying to get into the minds of these folks and see exactly where they could be going later.
Poidrac peeking the boss up at the top of tower. We see that it is Bahamut, another relative freebie. Our curse rings plus our star veils can set it up to where you'll have pretty much nothing to worry about that fight. So free boss up there, but no tower key to be seen. So if you do run up there, you're again running the risk of doing multiple dips. So yeah, all these free bosses. I'm kind of hoping for a nasty Fey March at this point.
Well, and the other thing we have to take into consideration is where are our characters? I mean, do we do something, for example, where we go to Dwarf Castle where we could pick up someone, maybe, hopefully a Rosa, or are you going to hope that because you need to get the Earth Crystal anyway, you're going to end up doing Zot for a double whammy?
Well, we are going to get to see 3 more key item checks here. We're going to get 1 from Bonking Yang, and then we're going to get 2 more once they actually return the cookware to Sheila. So our racers are about to have a ton of options. I do think they're both going to do Pan. Paranoia, like you said, having even more incentive to do it than Poidrac. The question is, with all of these options at this point, between the Fey March, the Dwarf Castle, the free boss at Tower, whatever this Pan gives us, or this Twin Harp, Freen Harp's in the chat.
Yes!
We're going to probably see some serious divergence here. This seed just got blown way open.
Yep, and Poidrac going immediately, I would presume, to turn in that pan to see exactly what's going on. But man, we can only hope. We can only hope that he also turns in the Twin Harp.
It is a bit of a slow check, but it's a very popular one. You'll score points with the fans, but you might not score points for a win. Going ahead and moving his hovercraft, does not intend to return to that cave, so waiting just in case he finds a rat tail or a pink tail that he wants to turn in. Going ahead and stashing that, since the Enterprise is the better airship of the two anyway.
I mean, objectively, is it?
I mean, I'm a big Star Trek fan, so
The
Enterprise.
Well,
yeah. We get a Luca key and a Murasame. So Luca key, Twin Harp, Tower, Fey March, Dwarf Castle. So many options, and like Simba's pointing out in chat, if sirens are for sale, we can get our team powered up very strong to where I would say even the Baron Basement is on the table at that point. So just tons and tons of options. Poidrac going to do a little inventory management here while deciding which path to take next.
You know what I just realized, Inven?
Shoot.
That Final Fantasy has got to be the only franchise that can simultaneously make Star Trek references in the Enterprise and Star Wars references in Biggs and Wedge.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and even the Falcon is kind of Millennium Falcon, and then of course, this game, Luke, I am your brother. Okay, close enough, Darth. Uh, so yeah, definitely they definitely dig into the sci-fi repertoire here.
Come on, Final Fantasy, pick a side. You can't just straddle. Can't be a dirty centrist like that. Come on.
And is Poidrac going to give us our job dwarf check? I'm a job printer. What's that? Okay. Chat, help me out. What's a job printer?
He prints jobs. Clearly.
Okay, that explains it. Thank you. I didn't know that was very. So when people talk about job creators, they mean that they literally print out. Okay, gotcha. Thanks. You're all very helpful.
But they don't have job printers at your place of employment?
We're backwards down here in the South, so we still handwrite all our jobs. We have to copy them using oh gosh, what's the word for the lithograph? Is lithograph? No, not lithograph. What's the word for the old kind of like big heavy plate print? Okay, I give up. Brain is not working today. I blame daylight savings.
Printmakers, or yeah.
Mimeograph, thank you. There we go.
And that was your education on this week's episode of Free Enterprise. Join us next week,
when our word of the day will be anti-disestablishmentarianism.
All right, another key item here. Bomb it! Hey, that's nice.
That's very nice. If you like the self-summon, wait until you see the Dragon Lord.
And some hourglasses for sale here as well, if we are so inclined.
Yeah, a little bit pricey. Finding a few more things willing to ditch here. Only picking up 3. Going to try to use them sparingly, it seems.
Getting a boss check here soon. Paranoia looks like he's doing Dwarf Castle clearing out first. Now, we'll see if he checks the bosses here. Would be interesting. This is a little bit of divergence as we get into the underground.
Yeah, Poidrac going for a cluster of checks. You do get the free chest, and then you can peek 2 bosses in the Feymarch before you even fight them. Paranoia going straight for a location that offers you a character, and we see the Baron guards here.
What is with all the free bosses? We're out! That's gotta be it, right?
Dark Imps are still in play. So I think 1 more to go, and then it's all the rude ones left.
Rubicant and Antlion.
Ooh, Elements, actually.
Yeah.
They use the
Elements.
same Overworld sprite. Elements will not be that bad, especially if we gain just a few more levels first, because you can pop a Star Veil and just reflect fire spells and cure spells, and it will never leave the Mylon form. And the Mylon form, the most damage it can do in a turn is punching someone. So as long as you keep it in that form, you can win a battle of attrition. But you'd probably want to see Fire 3, maybe you'd like to have a few more options and increased damage before tackling it right now.
All right, so Paranoia does end up getting through those guards with a dead Tella. I suspect if this is a Rosa, Tella is not long for this world.
It depends. Sometimes the sheer utility of him combined with how great of an anchor he makes is will let people keep Tella even into the end game. Does decline this Edward though.
Yeah, I threw up a little bit in my mouth. Ooh.
I mean, this is one of those seeds where if we do find everything we need before the Darkness Crystal. Oh, also of note, sirens weren't for sale anywhere. If sirens are for sale this seed, they're for sale on the moon. So this could end up being a situation where Eddie strats are really merited to beat the seed. But of course, you don't really care until that point. We've already seen Golbez, we've already seen Odin, we've already seen Evil Wall. All the main ones that Eddie really gives you an early edge in are already out of the pool. And Ogopogo at a relatively kind spot, only about 3,000 HP here. But Paranoia's team looks a little scary, but with a couple of Sylph summons and that big jump from Kane, the Nope Rope is done for.
But then I turn around and see what Poidrac's about to hit, and his Ridium might not, his Sid might not even last because he has that double big wave that hits just immediately.
A little more cutscene, and then we'll find out what Luca has for her necklace today. And Get Cooped, I don't think the gold armor cane is a reference to anything. I think it's just one that Scala made because it's pretty.
Darkness Crystal. The moon is open to us. Oh, this could open up a gigantic rabbit hole.
Yeah, we still have to find an Earth Crystal, a package, and a Rosa, and now there's even more open. Feymarch is available, entire moon's available. Still got that Luca key, got that Twin Harp, tons of places to go. And so far, our racers have kind of stayed neck and neck. It's going to be pretty funny if they both end up chasing the same path here. Now, did mention that we hadn't seen Sirens for sale. Wouldn't surprise me to see either a peek on the moon for those, or D Machine is also in play now. If you want to, you can go get all your grinding out of the way right now and have a couple of nuke casters on your team, perhaps. I mean, I'm a fan of that.
That would be nice. Better than nice. That would be just kind of the ideal setup. But I don't know, it doesn't feel like the right time to hit the grind quite yet. It might be though. I don't know.
I mean,
Like
it would be
what?
nice to hit 10 key items first, but sometimes you gotta risk it for the biscuit.
Wait. Hold on. What did you just say?
Oh, don't worry about it. Paranoia noping out of the Feymarch fights as well, wants no part of either of those. That Antlion at Leviathan is especially terrifying. I'm really hoping it's required.
Meanwhile, Poidrac is going into the sealed cavern. Now, if you're already wondering if you're going to get sirens or not, the doors aren't the worst thing to grind on, you know.
Oh yeah, the doors themselves will give about 31,000 XP a pop, and if you can get a Manticore or a Yellow Dragon to pop out of one, you get even a little extra there. So you kind of use it when you have a few other good options. With that Darkness Crystal, we definitely have better options there. Other nice thing about coming down here is that if the key item is Bubkus, well, you don't have to fight a boss. You can just hit that reset button. I would like this to be something bad, and then you still have to fight Mist Dragon at the Evil Wall spot, and then the Mist Dragon reward is also something bad.
Why bad? Why not good? Why not, reward this clear and present gamble at this point in time?
Defense Sword, Kane's ultimate weapon until he hits level 68 or so. Probably not going to see that being kept when we already have a Gungnir Spear, but we do want to peek this boss. D-Mist is still out there gating something somewhere. But not here.
Wow, that was rude.
Poidrac about to launch the whale, gonna see the Lunar character, probably check the shop, and then we'll see if there's going to be if sirens are available, we may see a gold dragon grind. If they're not, we may see a D-machine grind. Maybe we'll see Poidrac just go headlong into some boss fights up here. Although, with the bosses that are left, you probably won't be able to do much of anything unless it's against Dark Imps with those hourglasses.
That would be extremely lucky and completely and totally in line with everything else that we've seen in this seed so far. Simbu makes an interesting point. Poidrac has not seen the alt Gauntlet yet at the Odin spot, so he might be thinking that's still in the pool.
Well, with alt Gauntlet on, though, and these levels, you probably don't want to fight them on the moon either. Ah.
Fair.
Poidrac did only buy 3 hourglasses. If you had like a stack of 5, maybe you get a little interested in it at some places. But if you get any of the red or blue dragons, you're not going to land an hourglass on them. If you find the Gauntlet at Ogopogo spot, it's not going to work on the behemoths or I think the evil masks. So it gets a little terrifying. Oh, the only thing.
Sirens.
The only thing they're selling. Can you imagine how annoying Hummingways would be if they canonically only made huge alerts that summon monsters? Like, this is our only thing. This is what our society is sustained upon. Please, buy some.
Like, who would even buy that other than adventurers? Realistically.
So yeah, Poidrac peeking here. I'm still curious. Well, with the Siren purchase, we're probably going to see a few Gold Dragon grinds, and then just start cleaning up bosses here, if I had to guess. Ooh, that's cheeky.
Double Quake Mage?
I just have an inkling we're probably going to see some kind of reflect strats at Zeromus. I got a feeling.
What? Really? Yeah, he's ditching Sid to do it.
So that's kind of funny. Poidrac bought Sirens, but is now actually headed to the Giant. I'm guessing seeing the Palom at base level 10 decided to tempt him into slingshotting. Of course, if you are 5 levels behind your party median, you get double XP from fights. And this can be used to take little baby mages and make them into archmages of terrifying power and destruction. And I think we're about to get some terrifying power and destruction going on.
Takes a little bit of a cutscene and a little bit of a setup, but it is absolutely worth it. So he's banking on this being his team. Even if he finds a Rosa at some point, this is it.
And the nice thing is that if you do have 3 nuke casters, Rydia and 2 Paloms, odds are you don't even need a white mage at the Zeromus fight. You're probably fine, or let me rephrase that, a dedicated white mage at the Zeromus fight. You're going to burn through the 61,000 by reflecting your spells so quickly that you likely only see that first big bang, and yeah, then it's toast. The butt will be kicked. So I like this play. I like making sure that you get the nuke online on your Rydia here as well. She's a pretty bad XP curve, and D Machine is a great way to go ahead and power through and get those levels.
So here's the question. There's only so many places that Rosa can be, and that is still a place we need to get. Will Poidrac go ahead and beat the boss here to pick up whatever character is at the end?
I mean, if you have 3 people who can cast nuke, you probably do. Now, one thing okay, we do see, by the way, Poidrac properly equipping his Tela wants to make sure that these weak spells land instead of whiff. It is notable that Poidrac never got a Soma drop, so that Tela does only have the base 90 MP pool. And I'm not sure about the Ether and or Succubus situation. Chat, anyone here caught sight of that in Poidrac's inventory? Did buy Ethers. Thank you, Huffman.
I'm gonna back attack? Ew.
Yeah, the nice thing about this fight is that everything in it only uses percentage-based damage, so you're not really that worried as long as you pay close attention to your HP totals. And first encounter, the D Machine grind. Very, very fortunate. You always love to get it first try instead of resetting half a dozen times.
He did seem to be setting it up pretty well, though, beforehand.
Now, if I caught sight of his Rydia's level correctly, I think she was level 26. So if Poidrac wants to take her all the way to nuke, he will need to get 22 total D machines taken care of. Of course, you can life glitch and cut that down to only 11 actual ones killed. So hopefully has enough ethers to get through it all. And even if you don't, you're probably going to get nuke on your slingshotted Palom. That one will only take 11 D machines before dividing it in 2. And yeah, so we're going to have some very powerful children here, just as long as Poidrac keeps a handle on this grind.
So far, so good. In the meanwhile, Paranoia looks like he's setting things up. Looks like he's selling, getting ready to purchase sirens on his own. I don't know if Paranoia is going to do this same sort of slingshotting or if he's going to do something else.
Yeah, and chat's discussing a little bit of what we're seeing with this D machine grind. And that's making an exchange of eating 2 fire spells from the dragon in exchange for doing an Ice 2 and getting 2 extra life glitches off. Well, 1 extra life glitch for a total of 3 dragons at a time. This is going to burn through your health as a resource quickly, but it's going to preserve your MP and your ether supply a bit. So if you have enough potion supply, this can sometimes be a better management of your resources. But at the same time, if you already have enough ethers, you are going to be... It's all trade-offs. So it just depends on what you need versus what you have.
And Inven, can you do me a favor, just for my refresher, and for anyone else out there who might be watching who has no idea how the life glitch works? Can you explain that? Because this particular grind is kind of heavily dependent on.
Oh, absolutely. The life glitch, also known as the Vitality Zero glitch, is a tech used in Free Enterprise and in vanilla speedruns of the game to get a lot of extra XP. If an enemy doesn't have the boss bid, you can use life potions or life spells on them. The way life works in this game is that you're restored with a multiple of your vitality stat. If you ever curse ring a character down to 0 vitality, you won't be able to life up your own team, And if for some reason a character like a level 1 Rydia has way too much vitality from gear, you can revive her with more than her max HP. And the way we use this is that you life potion or spell a monster as it's dying, and it gets brought back to life at 0 HP and instantly dies. So every one of these life potions you see going off on an empty tile in the battlefield is, boom, another big ol' stack of XP from another D machine. Now, we are getting some notable divergence here, by the way. Paranoia not going for the D machine grind, taking those sirens, heading on down into the lunar subterrane. It'll be interesting to see how many boss checks Paranoia gets done before Poidrac wraps up the giant, and then, if so, how quickly Poidrac makes up this ground, if Poidrac can.
Well, and it really, you got to go back and look at what the objectives are. So the objectives that we still need for both of these runners: burn the Mist Village, so we're looking for the package; Earth Crystal, so we're looking for the Earth Crystal; and then get Rosa. Now, the interesting thing is the Earth Crystal also unlocks, once you get through Zot, unlocking 2 character spots. However, Poidrac is also in a spot where he's not only doing his grind, but unlocking 1 character spot. So, while they're both doing their level grinds right now, Paranoia is kind of in a spot where he's looking at, from a density perspective, has a lot more options in terms of the package is here, the Earth Crystal is here, I absolutely have to get both of those items. And with the Earth Crystal, maybe being able to turn around and get Rosa. That being said, Poidrac's going to be able to level up, I think, quite a bit faster. He's going to slingshot up and be in a much better spot end game wise. Plus, if Rosa is in this one spot where he's at, it might take Paranoia a long time to get to that spot. So it's still anyone's game, but we're getting down to getting some clarity here.
Absolutely. Another little minor point of difference in our runner strategies: Paranoia did not ditch the Cid for the duplicate Palom. So, keeping his Bahamut, Sylph, Rydia, and just 1 Palom for magical DPS. Cid, of course, has a massive HP pool. He's doing reasonable damage with his loadout. And he even ends up being kind of fast if you curse ring Tella. So Cid's biggest weakness, how slow he is kind of mitigated here. But I think I'd still rather have another source of nuke.
And Poidrac is getting off these double lives every single time. It is just fantastic to see. It's a thing of beauty.
Yeah, I have lost count myself. Again, I just know that you would want to hit 22 to get that Rydia to nuke, but if you get even 20 here, both Paloms should get it. So, if you already are committed to doing the next 2 boss fights here, it may be enough anyway, because the vanilla elements and CPU slots also have huge XP bumps for your team.
Math Guy, how tight is the double life strat? It is, and I will defer to Inven because he clearly is more of the expert on the technical things and back behind the scenes. But it's tight-ish. It's tight enough that it requires a magic caster to get just a little bit more of a delay in when the spell will go off to kill the item. So you have 2 people set up to hit life. It does, as Inven said earlier, it will require you to take 2 fires to the face in this particular setup, but it's worth it. Honestly, it is totally worth it.
So Paranoia appears to be comfy with the levels he's gained from those Gold Dragon fights, going ahead and getting rid of Dragon Whip power in exchange for Dragon Lord power on Rydia, and gonna start peeking these boss spots down here in the LST.
Looks like Poidrac is pretty well set up. He just cast a weakness on the Searcher as well, so I think it's about done for him as well. So I think it's about done for him as well. So I think it's about done for him as well. So I think it's about done for him as well. So I think it's about done for him as well. So I think it's about done for him as well. So I think it's about done for him as well. So I think it's about done for him as well. So I think it's about done for him as well. So I think it's about done for him as well. So I think it's about done for him as well. So I think it's about done for him as well. So I think it's about done for him as well. So I think it's about done for him as well. So I think it's about done for him as well. So I think it's about done for him as well. So I think it's about done for him as well. So I think it's about done for him as well. So I think it's about done for him as well. So I think it's about done for him as well. So I think it's about done for him as well. So I think it's about done for him as well. So I think it's about done for him as well. So I think it's about done for him as well. So I think it's about done for him as well. So I think it's about done for him as well. So I think it's about done for him as well. So I think it's about done for him as well. So I think it's about done for him as well. So I think it's about So Paranoia is in the mid to late 30s for his level as he's checking things. Hello, Wyvern.
And I do not think gained Meteo on... Huh. I don't think... pardon me, I don't think Poidrac got a... Okay, there's a nuke incoming. Okay, 50 levels. Yeah, that'll do on that kid.
Yeah, so many levels gained. I saw at least one Meteo at some point. I really would want to see the levels on Poidrac's end. I think he'll be in a much better level position with this slingshot setup.
Yeah, so he did get nuke on both Palums. Still needs 2 more levels on Iridia. She's only level 48. She'll learn it at level 50. So likely to happen by the time the seed is done. And in the meantime, those are some very strong little Mysidian prodigies.
And Tella is going to be sitting there likely at 0 agility. Curse Ring Tella.
Yeah, and chat correcting, only level 51 on the secondary Palom, so not there yet. Very close, though.
Oh no, you only have 2 nukes instead of 3.
Well, only 1 right now, instead of 3. But this is either Mylon or Mylon Z. Shouldn't be a problem for this team. And if you want to get cheeky, you know your Palom that didn't learn Nuke? Well, he did learn Meteo. One thing I'm hoping to see Paranoia do in this Wyvern fight is, well, Wyvern, in addition to the opening Mega Nuke, will respond to any spellcasted summon with another Mega Nuke. Bahamut's a little slower here than some, but when we see the dragon go off with a Mega Nuke, there'll be more Mega Nuke. All the Mega Nuke you could possibly want.
Would you like some Mega Nuke with your Mega Nuke? Because I have some Mega Nuke for your Mega Nuke. For your Mega Nuke.
So there's the Bahamut summon, and then Wyvern's like, blah! Right back in your face.
And it's still not dead. My God.
Well, yeah. It's a weaker Mega Nuke on the one that you activate there, and this spot does have quite a big HP pool, so it's going to take a little bit.
And Cheeky Palom is casting Meteo.
But we are possibly reaching the battle of attrition part of the fight. Wyvern will bounce nukes off of its own wall, and even the relatively low spell power here should probably be enough to take down most members of Paranoia's team. I think that the Kane might be able to survive one at full health, but yeah, that even Palom's 1000 HP, not enough to endure. May need to start run buffering some of these to get them off in time.
Yeah, it's going to be tight. Poidrac, meanwhile, is doing work on this.
Yeah, the time that it takes to beat this Mylon fight is a little bit inflated on 2 fronts. One, this spot does have the highest HP in the game, excluding Zeromus. Actually, kind of including Zeromus, depending on how you measure it. And all those counter lightning ones just delay the inevitable. Alright, there's the other nukes. Alright. Now we have 3 murderous children with atomic power at their fingertips.
Murderous children are terrifying, and Paranoia's in a rough spot right now.
Yeah, trying to get these life pots off fast enough but it is definitely a very sticky situation. Yeah, Simbu here pointing out a very great alternate strat. That Dragon Whip that Paranoia was using on Rydia to grind gold dragons, well, it does quadruple damage to Wyvern as well, but in addition to that, if you do have a Zerker swinging at relative agility 1, you're going to buffer your turns with all your other characters and make it even harder for Wyvern to get all these nukes out between your actions.
All right, so this is the CPU spot. We have one more boss to fight here. What do we have? That's it. No more free bosses. We are officially out.
Although Poidrac's in for a little shock here, it seems. The CPU spot is tied for the highest physical attack in the game, and he's choosing to use damage spells rather than any kind of instant death or other preventive measures. I think this Bahamut will clear it, but those imps they came to play, and they came to play hard. Paranoia looks to be in pretty good shape at this point in the Wyvern fight. Does have the entire team standing. Should be winning the battle of attrition at this point, but is down to only 11 life potions after this one.
And it's a Cecil. So at this point, the only characters that we can possibly get left are from that Earth Crystal. Unless I am like completely forgetting something.
Earth Crystal and Package. We already know the Sand Ruby is Fu. So that means between the Package and Zot, there'll be Yang, Edge, and Rosa. So Poidrac now has a very strong team and has to make a big decision of whether to full clear what remains on Earth or to go to Moon and start making checks. With how long it's taking Paranoia on this Wyvern fight, Poidrac is sticking to the Earth. If Poidrac had gone Moon, I would completely expect him to finish the Moon before Paranoia does at this point. But on the other hand...
Wyvern's down. That's... Woo!
Now, if this is just outright the Earth Crystal and the Package, we know that puts Paranoia into go mode.
Rat Tail.
All
that for Rat Tail. Oh, oof.
Poidrac has not peeked this barren basement yet. Does not know it is the alt Gauntlet here. Won't be too hard with this team, but it's still a little bit of a time sink. And there's not really a problem with Tella having gained levels because, again, with the Cursed Ring, you're going to be able to nerf his agility anyway. The only minor problem is that our Tella's reached a level where he has exactly 0 agility, which means everyone is relative agility 1, and this in turn makes Tella go first in fights. You don't want Tella going first. You want one of your overwhelmingly strong children going first. So, seeing that virus on the old man makes perfect sense.
So let's try to get into Poidrac's head right now. You know that you got that early, well, not early, but you have access to the moon right now, but you chose not to go, knowing all the setup that's going on here. Do you presume that your opponent in Paranoia went ahead and dove the moon early, so your best gamble is to go ahead and clear out the rest of the Earth, doing Twin Harp, to try to get those one-offs in the Package in the Earth Crystal? Or is the play to go ahead and chase up the moon? Because half of any sort of randomizer, it's not just about what you do, it's about what your opponent doesn't do.
Oh, absolutely. And that's one reason why I'm so excited for us to be having the 1v1 tournament. It actually gives you the opportunity to look over your opponent's prior matches, look over their practice sessions, try to get an idea of how do they like to route when they are thrown into a wide open seed. and then you can choose, do I lean into that? Do I try to do what they're doing but do it faster? Or do I break off on my own route and clear things that I know my opponent isn't doing? So I don't know if Poidrac studied Paranoia and saw Paranoia likes the moon an awful lot. Could have. It could just be that this is Poidrac's preference to play and could just be playing his own game. It'll be interesting to ask him after and see why he chose Earth over Moon with his power overwhelming that we've seen here today. But clap on, clap off. I believe that clapper was the final fight here. Oh, and it's required!
Wow!
That is huge. With that, Poidrac is going to complete Objective 3, possibly Objective 4, if the Rosa is here.
I have never been more excited to go burn down a village, let me tell you.
And of course, regardless now, the only key item Poidrac needs, and Poidrac knows this, is the Earth Crystal. He can just focus on that, doesn't have to worry about pursuing anything else. This is Poidrac has to feel good about getting that as his reward.
More than that, you know, if he's got to feel pretty good about being rewarded for sticking, and it's a Rosa! Double reward.
That's pretty good. And Paranoia taking a reset to the CPU fight. Those Globe 1-9s Control-Alt-deleted the team, but running back in a second time, gonna give it another go. Wyvern and CPU, two of our moon bosses. This is not a very kind moon at all.
Well, with how free everything else has been, did we expect anything else but a mean moon?
The Baron Key was the starting item today, Pepita. We were handed to it right out the gate by the King of Eblin.
He said, here, I am giving you the key to 2 objectives. Please just don't do it right now.
So that covers Burning Village Mist with the package, but you don't actually get the Rosa until you go to the inn. Poidrac's just gonna carry the unconscious Rosa around for a bit. Very Dragon Warrior randomizer-esque right now. Let's just take the princess to the Dragon Lord with us, why not?
Poidrac, why? Why, Poidrac? Oh, you know what? He's doing it for the memes, though. For the chat, for the community, for you, chat. Guys, this is all for you.
You know, I will laugh so incredibly hard if it is demissed at Kaipo with the Earth Crystal. Just to, you're trying to be cheeky, Poidrac. The seed could still know. Don't tease the octopus, kids. Paranoia leaning into the Reflect Float strats, landing it on the attacker to make it immune to Quake, and now being able to dish out a little extra damage through the CPU's Reflect status.
All right, and here we go.
Very little metallic gear on Poidrac's team. 4 characters still standing. Yeah, I think you just wait on the Dark Elf at that point.
Mage strats.
Paranoia deciding if it's time to risk casting the Bahamut spell, hoping to not have another Globe 1-9 situation. Keep an eye on both screens, chat, but listen to Poidrac. We're getting that Twin Heart music in. We're going to go radio silent in the booth and enjoy it ourselves. Be back with y'all in just a minute. Chat confirming that it is the fairy fountain music from Link to the Past. Finding Asura here. You know, you would be worried sometimes about not having a whole lot of physical damage for a fight at this spot. But I think with how leveled our children are, we don't even worry about the magic defense here. Just gonna nuke. Meanwhile,
here's a demist at Ogopogo. This might get nasty.
well, I'm sad that the seed doesn't get to clap back at Poidrac. But Demist on the Moon does bode well for Paranoia. Did only get an Excalibur from that CPU fight. So having another potential key item crammed in here is good news after how shaky some of these boss fights have been. Resetting out of the Sand Ruby, what? You don't want a fourth source of nuke? I would take the fourth source of nuke. You're going to Kaipo anyway, right?
I mean, true, you do have to go to Kaipo anyway, and he is adamantly avoiding it.
You know, there is a very slim possibility that Poidrac forgot that you have to actually go do the Kaipo in cutscene as well. Maybe, maybe not. If so, it's going to be a little confused when we open that Troya treasury and don't get a crystal. We'll see if it strikes him then, or if this is really just, you know, the cheekiness in action.
Now he's doing a keyless tower. He's full on the earth. He is at this point we can safely say he is actively avoiding the moon.
Well, the nice thing about the keyless tower check is that if you don't find what you're looking for from the boss fight, you can just reset all the way back down to the exterior. You don't have to hoof it all the way back down. This demist fight at Ogopogo is going to be a little slow and a little annoying, but not really an actual threat. Demist will only attack 3 times before going into mist form. That gives you a chance to rest and recuperate, get blinks up, get ready to queue up a powerful spell. So Paranoia is not going to have any trouble here.
I love the commitment on Poidrac to kill Tella with coronavirus every single time.
You have a cursed ring. It's okay. He can live. It's fine.
All right, so what do we got? That was quick.
Yeah, and the only boss who could... Oh, just a white shirt. I mean, it's a great piece of gear, but it's not one you're going to walk out here. It's kind of funny that we've still not seen Valvalis, and I think that's actually the bigger reason why Poidrac is keeping that cane around. Like, with all of this power overwhelming in form of nuke, well, Val could still be at a spot that you have to either break her spin or just beat her up with physicals.
So, Inven, walk me through what is going through Paranoia's mind, because he has been spending like every boss that he's had up here on the moon has not only just been a rough boss, they've all been long boss fights. Not that he struggled, but it's chewed up quite a bit of time. So what's going through his mind right now, do you think, knowing that these boss fights have taken so long?
I mean, I would guess it's probably a little bit of, why didn't I demachine? I could have demachined. I could have had all these nukes. I mean, Paranoia may not even care about that, may be comfy doing the boss fights like this, but I know that after the difficulties with Wyvern, the difficulty with CPU, and how the much of a time sink even this demiss is becoming, I would feel a twinge of regret.
I'm not entirely sold on regret yet. I mean, regret after the race, absolutely. But right now, there's you feel, I think, a lot of pressure to try to get through, and that's when mistakes happen.
Poidrac, meanwhile, using reflect strats to make sure that this element doesn't change into any of its later forms. Now, the fight with the Antlion will be, well, we don't know if we have to do it. We could just get the Earth Crystal here. Let's find out. Oh, dang. I mean, yay, go mode! I really, really, really wanted to see that Antlion fight.
He's checking his items and realizing, oh wait, I don't have my Rosa yet. So Moon was a complete and total rabbit hole that led to nothing but bait.
Yeah, and with how rude the bosses are up there, oh, that is so rough. At this point, the match is pretty much Poidrac's to lose. Extremely strong team, ready to go. But I'll tell you who I'm actually feeling sorry for, and that is whoever has to play Paranoia next week in the 3-in-1 bracket. Paranoia is such a good racer, and I would not want to have that draw. Just the moon didn't play out. Sometimes sometimes the moon's haunted, sometimes it's vaunted, and it's just how it crumbled today. So whoever gets paired with Paranoia next week, watch yourself. You're gonna have a very difficult matchup.
I mean, to be fair, whoever gets paired with Paranoia is also a very vaunted 3-in-1 themselves, so no bad matches at this point in time, and rando can rando anyone.
Poidrac not bothering to loot the treasury. Again, with levels like these, with spells like these, not that worried about it. Is having to make that Kaipo trip right quick, though. Paranoia opting to go ahead and leave the moon. Gonna check possibly the tower key. Definitely the Mist Dragon, though.
Picking up the superior airship in the meantime.
That does have a rat tail to turn in as well. Which, let's see. Well, cannot find any more rabbit holes here. So that's good at least. Currently, every spot is unlocked, except, of course, for Earth Crystal. Legend Sword does give access to the Kukul shop, and is keeping it as well. Did that put, I believe, wait, 3, 6, oh. Actually, Paranoia was already at 10 key items, so.
Poidrac did opt to ditch his Tella for a level 10 Rosa. So, I mean, that's fine.
I mean, Tella does at least have Cure 4 even while cursed. But you know, sometimes you want to give that special lady the moon. At least that's what they taught me in It's a Wonderful Life. So Poidrac does not have the pass, though, is going to have to hoof it through the Lunar core all the way down. Paranoia is going to come up here and make that tower key check. At minimum, maybe fight Bahamut as well. We'll know shortly. So, Vitasia, if you're in Poidrac's shoes right now, and you completely faded the moon, said, you know, I don't care about those 5 checks, and you found everything you needed on Earth, how are you feeling right about now, even though we're already 90 minutes in?
In Poidrac's shoes, I'm probably feeling pretty good. Knowing that, you know, everything that you did up to going into the underground was pretty, quote unquote, linear, I guess, up to this point in time. So you know that you and your one-on-one opponent, you probably traced your steps pretty well together up until you went to the underground. Now, knowing that you got the darkness and that you avoided it, you're probably feeling pretty good about dodging all of the moon. The only thing that might give you pause is that if your opponent did as well, you start thinking about things like, hey, I didn't do the Fabul Gauntlet quite as efficiently as I could have because I went there early. Minor things like that. And that might be giving you a little bit of pause right now. But depending on your research, and I haven't studied Paranoia all that much, but the moon is really a popular play, and knowing that you were still looking for 2 key items, you got the Darkness Crystal, the logical play really was going up to the moon from a pure statistics perspective. So dodging that and being in your shoes, if I were Poidrac, I'd probably be feeling pretty good right now.
Absolutely, and approaching this Aromas fight with this team, this build, the triple nuke, the level 60, I believe, on one of your Palums, level 60 plus after everything, you are ready to dish out an awful lot of damage in a very short amount of time. Probably planning on doing the refill skip, only having to deal with 61,000 damage instead of 61,000 plus some amount between 45 and 61,000. So, gonna be a pretty quick fight. But, oh! Paranoia, by the way, treating chat to a treat with the reflected warp spell. You don't see it that often, but you can actually do the same animation as the doors and the disrupts do. So, nice little Easter egg. But, Vitasia, as Poidrac approaches this flamey ball of hate, there's a very important question we like to ask around here.
Oh yeah? What question is that, Inven?
Whose butt are we going to kick tonight?
Oh, baby.
In this case, it's whose butt are we putting in the microwave and setting to high for about 2.5 minutes?
That's a long nuking. I don't think it's going to take that long.
I mean, if this is the baked potato sprite, then it would explode in the microwave at that rate. Always remember to poke holes to vent for steam.
His true colors emerged.
Hey, it's Gargamel.
I'll get you, Smurfs.
Oh, what was Gargamel's cat's name?
Quick. Someone's Google Foo, rescue us.
Azrael, yeah. That's a pretty great name for a villainous feline. So we do here see the reflected nuke spells being bounced off of Kane right here. Quad 9s is a number you like to see.
Gets a little bit of run buffering going on here.
Yeah, using that Cure 3 to top Rydia off. The first Big Bang is nerfed, so it will do at maximum 1200 damage. Everyone except for that Rosa is in the safety zone. Oh, the dodges to a sub 200 on that bottom Palom. Very nicely evaded and resisted. The main thing that Poidrac wants to see here is enough damage to finish the fight before the second Big Bang comes out. You don't frequently try to nerf the second one, you just assume that with your sheer amount of damage from 3 nuking children, that the fight will be done by then. But that Kane should be able to survive any Big Bang, even if a fully unnerfed one does come out.
So far, so good. I mean, triple nuke children, although Rydia is not really a child at this point, I don't think, canonically.
I think that she only ages up to like 17, and everyone below the age of 25 is a child to me.
Fair.
Like, nope. Until you get discounted car rental rates, you're still a kid. And that's not the Asura Rydia sprite, that's just a for funsies one. I like to call that Phoenix Rydia, but I don't think that one's based on anyone else. You'd have to ask Scala.
Oof. And Rydia does take a dive and a black hole.
Yeah,
in kind of a weird spot right now.
It's all good. Popping another Star Veil, getting another nuke queued up. This probably does it. Usually if you do make it to the second Big Bang, there's not a whole lot left. That one does it. Quad 9s. Get your GGs in chat for Poidrac. Coming in with a 1 hour, 39 minute, 54 second finish. And joining a few other folks in that 4-0 bracket for the upcoming week. We are going to have a lot of great matches coming. And we're going to see if we can get Poidrac in here for an interview shortly, once we hear from our restreamer.
Oh, and hey, it does appear as though we have a Poidrac already in chat.
Hey, GG's Poidrac, well played.
My heart is going about 7 million beats per second right now, even after the delay is finished.
Very well played. Generally, the big deciding factor seems to be, well, aside from the D-Machine grind, always be D-Machining. The fact that you chose Earth instead of Moon. So, first decision, after you'd bought Sirens, why did you decide to go do D-Machine after all?
I actually didn't buy Sirens.
I could have sworn you bought a small stack when you were in the Hemingway shop. Never mind.
I looked at them, thought about them, and thought it all really depends on what the character is in that on that Lunar dais. Because if there was, say, a Cecil or an Edge, I would have actually went back and bought a couple of Sirens and did a couple of King Ryus. But if it was a caster, I was going to go D-Machine. So I just decided, let's see the character first, not waste my money too much. It was Palom, instant D-Machine grind.
Yeah, paid off in spades for you. Having those triple nuke casters by the time you were done with Giant was very good for you. What made you decide, though, to go clean up the Earth rather than to pursue the Moon, especially with those levels?
I still don't know.
Okay. Hey, that's fine. Sometimes you flip a metal coin and it pays off for you.
That is exactly it. I could have went to the Moon, but I just didn't feel it today, so I stayed on the Earth. And obviously, Rando is going to Rando. It could have backfired on me just today. It didn't.
Yeah, not one bit. We saw you getting fancy a little bit, getting some extra life glitches off during the D Machine grind. Is that something that you've been practicing to help prepare for later rounds in the race? Or was it something you just kind of decided to do on the fly?
I haven't practiced a single race. I haven't done anything in the last few weeks for Free Enterprise apart from my races interposed and because I said it the last time I was restreamed, I think it was last week. I don't want to get myself bogged down into a routine. The objectives are always going to be different. The routine is always going to be slightly different, and shops are going to always be different as well. I don't want to sort of get my mind in any sort of any sort of actual routine. I mean, just play the seed for what it is, and rely on my own knowledge to see me through it.
Sounds good. Batasia, you have any other questions for Poidrac?
I mean, the main thing I want to know, Poidrac, you know, you're now 4-0. You're locked in. You're guaranteed a spot at the next round. How's that feeling for you?
Unreal. Actually, really unreal. People have been saying I'm a good player. I still don't believe it in my mind. I haven't had the hardest route going in in this. I haven't really faced anyone up until now who was really top tier. Paranoia is really good. Probably just got burrowed on the moon somewhere. I feel I'm on the higher tier, higher edge of the mid tier, but not quite above that. So to get 4-0 here and secure my place in the back brackets is just unreal right now. I really need to think about it and see where I'm going forward from it.
Well played again. Again, well executed start to finish today. I mean, you may not be giving yourself enough credit, because watching you run through this seed today was just very excellently done, start to finish. Believe it or not, you deserve to be there, Poidrac. You really do. And we're looking forward to seeing those upcoming matches.
Yeah, well, you can only play the person that you've been given, and today, and the last few weeks I've been given, and I've said it in the Discord. There's talent all across the board, from the very top to the very bottom. You can't really rest on your laurels for it. You've got to play the race. I played it today. I got the win, and I've got the 4-0 now. Now I can focus on next week being just to relax and just play the seed, and then focus on the brackets after that.
Hey, sounds good. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Hope you get a good night's rest. And yeah, looking forward to your matchups this week. And I'm sure we'll see you on commentary a few times as well.
Yeah. Have a good evening, everyone.
You too, Poidrac. Meanwhile, Paranoia has given up on the moon, it seems, found the package, still has to get that Earth Crystal, but it would not surprise me for... I really doubt we're going to see an antlion fight on Paranoia's side either, as much as I would love to see that angry insect go into just destroying someone's party today. But gonna be clearing out objectives 3 and 4 here, so coming right around the bend as well for Paranoia.
And this is the point, if you're Paranoia, you're like, oh, well, that's why I lost. They can see when someone else finishes, you're like, oh, well, okay, Package, okay, Package was in Odin, okay, that makes sense. Oh, turning in Package gives you Rosa. Oh, it makes sense now. It all ties in together. You're like, now I know why I lost.
Yeah, and you probably start to think, too, that with how rude the Lunar bosses were, you kind of get the feeling when you see that done that your opponent may be stuck to Earth. So definitely all kinds of things can go through one's head. Metagaming, in a 1v1 situation, you can't profit too much off of it, but it can definitely help you maybe just choose a different lane for the duration of the seed.
In a 1v1 situation, it just makes you realize how poor your mistakes were. You're just like, oh, I really messed up here, didn't I?
So picking up that Rosa, probably, let's see if Paranoia goes ahead, and yeah, going ahead and walking to Kaipo, gonna go ahead and get that one checked off as well. A quick reminder, with the slate coming up this next week, of course, Poidrac winning this match joins the 4-0. There will be 6 racers at 4-0 this coming week, so we're going to have 3 undefeated matches to see who can carry on into brackets at 5-0. I'm one of them. Pizza 34, Rivers McCown, Penguinator, and Korak are the others. So I'm really looking forward to seeing who I get matched up with. I'm sure that Poidrac probably doesn't care right now, like he said. Just so thrilled to be done with this match and ready to know that you're making it to brackets. So, and then that entire 3-in-1 pack is so stacked with amazing racers, and the 2-in-2 bunch, no slackers either. Going to be a lot of people playing hard this coming week, whether for pride, whether for a shot, whether to secure their places. So make sure that you are paying attention to the matches this coming week.
Absolutely. Going to be so hyped, so looking forward to it. Even if you're just, paying attention in the background, just turn it on, enjoy. It's, you know what? There's no other sport really worth watching right now. Might as well turn on some free Enterprise. It's the best thing around. All right, so now we have Paranoia trying to figure out where the next best option is going to be. Might he be going for the memes as well here directly?
Hey, gonna give the fans what they want. Another dose of Twin Heart music. This makes a lot of sense too, again, from the metagaming perspective. Your opponent has wrapped up the sea. They probably didn't go moon. And what have you had on the table for a long time? You've had the Twin Harp on the table. Every racer knows that chat loves it when you do it. So it's definitely something that's undoubtedly been stuck in the back of their minds for a while.
Now, Inven, correct me if I'm wrong, this was the last race for this round 4, so there's going to be a whole new set announced here directly, isn't there?
It won't be actually announced on this stream. Still, the admins have to go through the site and just do one final check of everything before rolling the next week's batch of seeds. Not seeds, batch of matchups. Hopefully, they'll go live tonight. There will be a ping in the players channel when that happens, so everyone can start scheduling their matches. And for viewers and fans, actually, I'm not positive if we have. Let's see. Do we have a command for the Fabul Gauntlet that links to the site? If not, I will get on that on the MooBot while we're getting our music reprisal. Okay. Gambit has me covered. There we go. It's not Fabul Gauntlet, it's just Gauntlet in chat. And make sure you check out that bit.ly/Fabul-Gauntlet. That will tell you all the matches on the upcoming schedule. But for now, I think I'm just going to take a deep breath and enjoy more soothing, dulcet tones from that Twin Harp.
Yeah, as someone who's a big Zelda fan, this song never gets old.
Well, we do know that this Asura fight is going to give the Sand Ruby. I'll be curious to see if Paranoia opts to keep it and pick up that Fu. Or if he just does a quick reset and moves on to the next check.
And for anyone tuning in, if this is your first experience or your 100th experience, make sure to join us over on our Discord. Even if this is your first time watching Free Enterprise and you're going, what the heck is this? Join us. We'll walk you through how to get a seed going yourself, how to get everything going, how to run it yourself, any questions that you might have, some of the glitches that you may not know about that is common in the speedrunning community. Just give it a shot yourself. I promise you, this is one of the best internet communities that are out there, especially if you're a fan into the retro gaming community. Everyone has been so nice and so welcoming and is so friendly. You cannot make a wrong decision in joining us. Please feel free. Come join us.
Absolutely. Tons of Newbies Guide, an entire Newbies Corner for when you get stuck and need questions. Of course, there is the flag set we're playing here in the Fabul Gauntlet, which will change when we do make it to brackets. It's going to get upgraded difficulty. But you can customize it for your skill level, how you enjoy playing the game. If you want to have shops have all the best items in the game for free, you can have it. We're not your supervisor. We're just here to play a game and have a good time. Good news, though, Paranoia is headed to Feymarch. Every reason to think that he'll do the Elements fight before the Antlion one, and then we should have a go mode.
Did not pick up that extra nuke ability, so it'll be a more melee-heavy fight. Interesting party comp. It'll be kind of hybrid strats, I think, at this point in time.
Wow, that huge gold total. That is one feature of grinding on the gold dragons on the moon. As befits their name, they drop a ton of money. So if there were any extra supplies Paranoia wanted to pick up before this Romus fight, well, that will not be a problem today. And of course, we know there's Antlion on the left at the Leviathan spot, and Elements on the right at the Asura spot.
It's a coin flip. Which do you do? And he is doing the easy one first.
Yeah. That Antlion fight is so rude there. We only have one... Well, actually, yeah, Rose is still base level, so we only have one source of Blink right now. And that Leviathan spot will hit fast and hit hard. You think that 816 is bad? Well... that Antlion would probably be hitting those kids for 1,500 to 2,000 damage easily. So no Reflect strats or Paranoia, just queuing up a Fire 3 into an Ice 3. Getting it done before the Ruby starts flinging spells. Bada bing, that's an Earth Crystal. Well, after we click through our levels.
Just a couple things for Rosa to learn right at the moment.
So I'm wondering if Paranoia intends to do any more Gold Dragon fights on the moon, just to get that Rosa leveled up, or if he's going to trade her out for that Fu maybe, because Fu of course comes at level 50, already knowing, well, at this point with how many bosses cleared, we'll should know every little trick in the book.
Will be interesting. Huh?
Maybe doing some shopping here if I had to guess.
Picking up some star veils? What?
Looks to be so. Paranoia did use up quite a bunch of star. That's why we didn't see Reflect Strat just now. I believe Paranoia used all his star veils in the Wyvern fight, and wanted to pick up an extra just to be able to do Reflect and/or Hybrid strats at the actual Zeromus fight.
That makes more sense. Yes. Of course, he has to complete the 5th objective.
Yeah, I have to walk down here. I will be very surprised if he actually bothers looting. Yep, there's the crystal. A little bit of fanfare, and are we going to see an instant exit? Yeah, we are. Kavalkan, the Twin Harp tune was the Fairy Fountain theme from the Legend of Zelda series. Yeah, and Paranoia did keep that Sand Ruby for a reason, clearly. Coming over here to pick up our friendly neighborhood mop.
Use the Sand Ruby over salt.
No, you're supposed to salt the Sand Ruby, and then... whatever.
So when you salt the Sand Ruby, you get a mop?
That's how you make them.
Video game logic.
So no pass to be seen this seed. It could be through the Earth Crystal. It could be back behind that gnarly insect at the Leviathan spot. But we're gonna have to do another little hike through the moon, and that's all fine. We are in this together. Just a little ways to go yet. But dude, where's my airship? Oh, there it is. Spaceship.
So, here's an honest question. If you have to go through the entire Earth Crystal to get the pass, obviously it wouldn't be a time save. But if you were already down there, right next door, would fighting that antlion for the pass actually save time from having to come back up through here and run through this?
Well, the problem is you would have to know with absolute certainty that it was there. Otherwise, it's definitely just, like without absolute certainty, you wouldn't take the time to do it anyway. And two, that fight is pretty rude. Like, even with these levels, it could still go off the rails. So I think walking is still the right play here. I think the only time that you ever peak a key item spot for the pass is if it's, say, like you have Sheila 1 or 2 on the table. Like if you hit Yang with the pan and the Sylphs give you your final piece of the puzzle, then you probably go check with Sheila for a pass. Otherwise, it's nearly always better to go straight to the moon.
See, and this is why I ask these questions, because I haven't mathed it out, and you're an expert.
I was surprised to see Paranoia keep the Rosa, given her relatively low level compared to the rest of the team. So, as our restreamer Simbu's pointing out in chat, we are probably going to see a little more grinding here, instead of a direct hike over to Gargamus. Yeah, Simbu also pointing out another logical check to make. If you get go mode at the top of tower and you have tower key, then that could be a spot you quickly check for the pass. You have to do a couple cutscenes there, though. One to get into the room, one when the room blows up, and then when you're exiting, so. And with my luck, it would be Golbez. It's like, well, great. We're going to be here a minute. Yeah, so 3 Sirens, 4 Hourglass 2s. We are going to see a little bit of a grind here. If you life glitch one of these Gold Dragons, you'll be getting 180,000. If you can manage a double life glitch, you'll get 240,000 for the fight. Definitely going to get that Rosa up to strength pretty quickly. And we do see the team is pretty much set to do pure reflect strats as well. the Palom with the Artemis bow, I mean Artemis arrows and Samurai bow doing 2,000 with a normal attack. You love to see it.
Oof.
And the Dragon Whip on Rydia, just being extra cruel to these gold dragons.
Hey, whatever it takes at this point.
But yeah, there's no melee going on here, so we're definitely going to see a grind until at least Palom knows Nuke, and probably until Rydia knows it as well. 3 more levels to go on Rydia. Yeah, these Sirens should be enough to get it. Yeah, not going for any fancy double life glitch stuff here. Just the single will do when you have this kind of a... when you only need this few levels.
Really, because he only came here with 3 Sirens, so I hope he'll be alright. But yeah, as chat's pointing out, he also only had a couple of lives too, so I think the double life strats are limited just from his inventory at this point.
Yeah, but that does it. Nuke on Rydia, Nuke on Palom, White on Rosa. So now has 3 Nuke casters and a Holy caster for the final fight. Definitely don't want to be equipped with the Dragon Whip though. Want to be getting good magical damage instead of nerfed magical damage. Reordering the team a little bit here.
And always with the Tela in your center spot.
Oh yeah, having a Cursed Ring anchor to put your entire team, the rest of your team at relative agility 1 is very nice for the Zeromus fight. It lets you know exactly the order the fight's going to take. Your cursed character in the middle slot will go first, usually the one who you want to throw the crystal. Your next character, in this case, that Palom up top, well, if you cast a spell immediately, Zeromus will not have had a chance to drop its immunity yet. The only way to go ahead and nerf the first Big Bang would be to throw the crystal, or you just wait until that turn happens. But the nice thing about Palom is that you could, well, here, we could pop a Star Veil to get the Reflect situation ready. You could use Bluff to just make extra sure that your nukes are doing ridiculous damage all fight long. Plenty of good ways to plan out this fight, and it becomes a lot easier when you know what your turn order is going to be every time. I feel like we've seen a lot of seeds where the pass was found, especially when a seed, lasts more than the 90-minute mark. So it was kind of fascinating to see one tonight where both our racers still ended up having to make that hike.
And it's not that there's a ton of places left to check. It was effectively down to just Earth Crystal and Leviathan spot, right?
Yeah, pretty much. But here we go. One more butt for week 4. One more Gargamus. Chat, the admin team's going to try to get those new matches posted in just a little bit. So get hyped for those upcoming races, and now let's cheer Paranoia on to wrapping up this seed. Simbu, I don't think we did. I think that Paranoia, after seeing the dot done, pretty much elected to go back to Earth at that point instead of pursuing the rest of the moon. I may be wrong. We were kind of interviewing at that point, so focus was lost a little bit.
I do know in that first kind of out of the way moon spot there was the magnet key, so
Oh, gotcha.
something was there. The Sid making a point. Yeah, there wasn't a ton of like top tier gear that we got through all of this, which is fine. We're serviceable at this point in time, but there wasn't anything that just wowed you and says, we're fine, decked out on gear. You might feel a little bit naked coming into this fight.
Well, that is the one good thing about having a party full of mages, though. They are not quite as concerned with having good gear. You're still going to be doing, somewhere between 6 and 10,000 with your nukes and your holies. So, and also just having good mental stats is going to bump up your magic evade percentage. Your magic evade percentage and number of rolls. So, although the gear is nice, mage teams definitely get to skate by a little bit better on their innate power than, say, a melee team that really craves those big hitting weapons. And Sir Coop asking in chat, did we see Val? Never saw her. She is either at an unvisited moon spot or could be up in the Tower of Zot. Vanilla or French vanilla Val Valis today, perhaps?
That makes sense, how the rest of the seed is gone.
There comes the nerfed Big Bang, but we do have 4 casters this time, contrasted with Poidrac's 3, so I really do have doubts that we'll see a second one. Of course, though, Paranoia doesn't quite have the levels on one of his Palums like Poidrac did, but seeing these 8,000 rolls, we're probably fine.
Everything seems to be going relatively smooth and straightforward. I do not think we're going to see a second Big Bang.
This will be Fu's last nuke if there are no ethers utilized. Down to only 40 MP on him, but of course the kids both still have tons. And there's the flash. That last holy gets it. Paranoia wrapping up with an official time of 2 hours, 11 minutes, 3 seconds. A little stymied by the moon, but still comes in clean at the end. Get your GGs out in chat for Paranoia, and we'll see if he wants to interview here from our restreamer.
In the meantime, while we get everything set up, I do want to give one last shout out to both our restreamer Simbu and as well as our tracker Iker, doing all the work behind the scenes, making the whole operation look good. Thank you guys both.
With that sound, we are joined by Paranoia. Paranoia, GG.
GG.
So tell us about sodium chloride.
This is a good seed for it. I think the moon is made of salt.
Yeah, we may say moon's haunted, but this time moon salted? Moon's salted. Burn and salt the moon behind you. Yeah, that pretty much sealed your fate. Going moon, rude bosses, no actual progress from it. Yeah, you flipped the coin and it didn't pay off today. How did you feel about the rest of the seed though? Like first
Uh,
half, getting underground and everything. How do you feel about your play
that felt
overall?
real. That felt real. Getting underground felt real good. I was considering doing a D machine grind, but I don't think it would have made a difference that seed, since I got baited by the moon super hard either way.
Yeah, I think if you had the levels, those bosses wouldn't have given you like nearly as rough of a time. But again, if you're both at level 55, one of you does moon, one does earth, the earth one's just gonna win, just because of how those objectives played out.
Yeah. And once I saw the dot done, I was like, you know what? I see the D-Lunars there. They can stay there. Everything's probably back on the Earth, and it was.
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, no. That was just not a good seed for me because my like instincts are going to be I need key items. There's like 5, 6 checks up there, 7. Why don't I go up there instead of dealing with things in the Fey March and the Twin Harp and that Gauntlet in the basement?
You know, it happens. I mean, we saw this all the time back in Zima zones and before the objective modes, where it really did come down to frequently a moon coin flip. So it came back to you today. You are, however, you're 3-1. You're still guaranteed a play-in match at minimum to make brackets. If you get a win this coming week, you'll be 4-1 and make them anyway. Is there anyone in that 3-1 bracket who you're really hoping to avoid this coming week, or anyone you'd really like to play?
You know what? I'd really like to play Demarine.
That's really funny because on Discord, Dia wanted to play you, Demarine wants to play Dia, and you want to play Demarine. So
everyone's just hunting a different person next week.
This is the rock paper scissors we've longed for.
But no, I just want to play Demarine because Demarine's an actually really good friend, and you know, that'd be a nice fun match. Should be good. And I understand, you know, we could have Dia just for that simple rematch of Hopen.
Well, I'm sure it's going to be a fantastic game this coming week. I'll be sure to try and catch that Khadgar myself. Any final thoughts on tonight's seed before we kick it on over and find our raid target?
No. No, just moon salted.
Hey, it's happened to all of us. It's not racing free enterprise if you don't get bitten by a rabbit hole once or twice, but
I mean,
yeah.
Okay, so I did love when we were up on the moon. I find D-Mist. I bounce against Wiver for a moment, and I get like, what was it from the White Spear spot? What was there? I cannot remember anymore. Oh, it was CPU, which I wiped to like a moron. And all of them gave me like key item checks back on Earth. I'm like, okay, let's go check these out. And by the time I turned in the tower key and it was nothing, I had already figured out I'd probably lost.
Oh.
And like right afterwards, the dot comes in. I'm like, oh, well.
Yeah. Did you end up finishing off the moon, or did you just at that point we were interviewing, so we lost a little bit of track? Did you finish off the moon, or did you just assume everything was on Earth at that point?
I assumed everything was on Earth at that point when the dot came in.
Well, metagaming. You know, when we do get back to Zima Zone this coming fall with our 4-player matches again, if 4-player matches are still a thing, you know, keep that understanding of your foes handy. I'm sure it'll serve you well there. And yeah, thanks again for letting us showcase you. You did great. Vitasia, anything I'm overlooking here?
Man, you have covered everything. I'm fine being just like this pretty porcelain mantelpiece that doesn't have to say anything over here. You've been great.
I mean, I love the interview part. I love the interview part so much. I will not lie. But that is it from us tonight, Free Enterprise fans. We are going to be sending y'all over to Korek, one of those 4-0 racers who is currently doing practice with an async race. If you intend to do the C5ZPW async, you're about to get spoilered, so don't do that. But we're going to go give Korek some love and hopefully get those matches posted for y'all shortly. Have a good night, friends. Take care.
Good night, everyone.